Mario Denton, that's my name, but I'm so grateful and it's so wonderful to welcome you because this program is all about understanding your journey. And it's not only understanding it, what can we do and how are we doing it and what's the best ways of doing it. We started with this episode on God's way and man's way of doing things, two economies. But the reason why we're going to take it further, because today we're going to talk about finances. Then I want to talk about ethics. Then I want to go into governance. So it's going to be very, very powerful and practical. But I want to start by throwing in a couple of things that is going to be new. And the first thing that I want to throw in, it's a question. I've got this question, and listen to this. My husband and I disagree about finances. And after a while, one of us just explodes. Any suggestions, Mario? No, it's a great question, and I know there are lots of people who are very familiar with this, and how do we respond? This is the feedback. Always deal with disagreements as soon as possible. Be careful, even with finances, if you keep it for 2 days or 3 or 4 days. The longer a conflict festers, the larger it becomes because time tends to magnify a hurt. So we're talking about finances today, and I'm going to even ask you, as we carry on with the series, if you do have a question, please put it in writing. Drop me a note. I want to contact you also by sending your response. But listen to this question again. My husband and I disagree about finances. Ephesians 4 verse 26 says, "Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold." In other words, deal with it today, sitting down. And I know I'm going to give you solid advice how to deal with these type of things. The next question, and this is a very interesting one. We have been married for 6 months and have fallen in the habit of arguing about money. Mario, any suggestions? Now, the reason why I'm saying this, and this is such a serious topic, often people get married, and I want to talk about this, but how do we prepare them? What is going to be the contents? So in this case, I'm saying is very important to invite the Lord to be part of your discussion. When you start your time together by praying, the tone of your discussion can go from hostility to peace. So it's all about pray and pray and pray about your finances. James 1 verses 5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him." So what are we saying? I know there are questions, and specifically in this area of finances. So I will from time to time discuss these type of things and what we can do. And the reason why I'm saying is we're sitting in a world. It's tough outside. There's always a financial type of crisis. It's not how you start the journey, it's how you finish the journey. So what are we saying? Why do we need to study finances? Where is it coming from? What is the best way? And if we fix finances, what is the real problem? And I want to say it again. Money is not often the real issue. There's something bigger. You don't always fix money or your financial problems with money. There may be something bigger. So I want to ask you, navigating finances God's way, and one of the things we started, and I want to repeat this, to me this is very important, business God's way. Because at the end of the day is I want you to work through these type of things. I want you to get involved. And even better, I want you to be a facilitator. What we do with this material, we put it together with all the slides, plus the handouts and the applications so that you can go and implement these type of things. So if you're talking about navigating finances God's way, what are the issues? One of the first things that you need to do, believe God owns it all. Because remember in my discussion, I said, are you in God's economy or man's economy? Do you have a lifestyle of contentment, or is it just more and more and more and more? What about, things like debt? Is it a real concern, yes or no? And I know it's a big situation, and I cannot talk about finances without giving you some advice. That to me is very important, because we need to sit down and have a strategic thinking about debt. Where is it right now? How can we get out of it? What is the reason for that? So if I look at specifically the questions that I want to throw in here, how does God feel about people that have been indebted? And I want to give you a couple of very important scriptures. Romans 13 verse 8, "Let no debt remained outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. Even if you're looking at Proverbs 22:7, the rich roll over the poor and the borrower is servant to the lender. 1 Corinthians 7:23, you were bought at a price, do not become slaves of men. So this is serious issues. So if I look at the questions that we started, and I want to throw in another one, we get these questions and I'm asking myself, so what can we do? How can we give you advice? So here is another one. My husband lost his job. He's 55 and has become discouraged because he can't find work. Any suggestions? Now, I know the impact because financially you're going to go for a dip. What do you do in this situation? How do you prepare yourself? How do we fix it? And it's so easily that we're starting getting involved with such a lot of other issues and we're working for the wrong reasons. And I'm saying, yes, it's a very important step. But you need to remember God is the provider and work through these notes on what we can do and how we can do it and how we can fix it. So very, very important things that I want to highlight for you. So how do we become debt-free? And now listen to my advice. Simple advice, but practical. And I know these type of things. We said it a couple of times, prayer is vital. And I don't want you to ignore it. Prayer is important. Do you have a budget? Yes or no? Even a written budget. How do you diversify your income? Do you have maybe a second income? What about your debts and all these type of things? Now, what I would recommend that you do is, this is such an important topic, and understanding God's definitions of finances and how do we do it, it's something that we need to work because there's so much conflict even in our marriages, and that's why I explain this question to you. And I got lots of these similar questions. Even sometimes, this is another question. My husband and I have both lost our jobs, and we're constantly fighting. Any suggestions? And you can see the reason why I've lost your job. That may be another discussion. But what do we do? How do we fix this? And if I look at Matthew 18 verses 19 says, if two of you on earth agree about anything you ask for, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. Where does all these type of things fit in? Why is it so important? How do we do it? And how do we fix these type of things? It's all about finances. This is why I want to give you the solid advice. Let's fix it. Let's get involved. Again, Romans 13:8, let no debt remaining outstanding. Such an important topic. So if we only keep on talking about these type of things, are we going to fix it? I'm saying, no, it's not so straightforward. So listen to the following advice. Make borrowing the exception. It's not the rule. Listen to that. It's not the rule. Pay back as soon as possible. A lot of people say, Mario, I've got lots of time. Say, no, think about it. Use a written plan. And this is discipline that I want to give you, this solid advice. And you will find it, these type of things is built in this business God's way. How do we fix it? What is going to be the best way? And where do we start? So what we're saying, finances, very important topic. Are you in God's economy, man's economy? And we're struggling with these issues and we don't know always how to fix it. So here, listen to the advice. And again, I want to say what we normally do with programs like this, we put all our thoughts together. We put it lovely in a presentation with all the slides so that you can watch it again and work through it again and work through it again. This is something that you need to work on. So if I'm looking at, and I want to just bring it in here, what are the requirements to entering into debt? And I want to give you some examples. Commit yourself to repayment. It's not about just getting the money and all these type of things. Listen to the next one. Never co-sign or pledge. I know it's something that people said, Murray, is it still an issue? And I'm saying, yes. Just do not sign, these type of things. It's dangerous. What are we saying is be careful when you take even your family into all these discussions without prayer. So what are we saying? We're living in a world, people don't worry about these type of things, and it's going bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I know friends who've lost so much money. It's amazing when I look and I talk to them, I realize, hey, what I've done, what have you done wrong? So we get these questions. Another question, I've been out of work for months now, and finally I've got a job interview. How do I prepare myself? What do I do next? All these type of things. And I know a lot of people are excited, they've got this new job, but how do they prepare themselves? What is the impact of finances? Very, very important. So again, just quickly from my side, I love questions. And this is why this session today is slightly different, because I want to throw it in here, all these questions. And I get a similar one. My husband and I find ourselves constantly arguing about money. What do you recommend, Mario? Now, please, we've got lots of these questions that we received over the years. We package it together, and I believe we need to work through these type of things. Because what is the answer? And I'm saying is, we need to talk about money, we need to discuss it. It's not going to just go away. There's a huge issue, but we need to also celebrate when we're getting out our financial issues. So the word is clear about these type of things. That we need to work for our finances and need to sit down and say, well, listen, how can we fix it? What is the best way of doing it? And where do we draw the line? So it's all about finances. But also, I want to just start wrapping this up. Are you a good steward? Yes or no? And listen to the Proverbs 22:1. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Finances, wonderful. I know a lot of people are spiritually free. But listen to this, are they financially free? And I know we've got children, we need to study, and we need this and all these type of things. But we're living in a world that this is a serious concern. I know it's a controversial topic. We cannot ignore it. So get involved so that we can carry on. In my next session, I'm going to really take you through, and I'm looking forward to discuss it with you further.
Do we understand these different seasons? We try our best to help people to be successful. As people move on with their lives, there is a desperate need to move on to the season of significance. In our research on managerial degeneration and self-neglect, we have found that managers easily understand the importance of strategic thinking and when to have team-building sessions with their staff, but often fail to apply those same processes in their own lives. Use your willingness and obedience now. Start your journey to be a facilitator today. When trained as a facilitator, you will have the opportunity to serve people in a very unique way. We are keen to take you through this wonderful training. Let the rest of your life be the best part of your life.
What a wonderful topic, and I want to repeat a couple of principles again. And let me start with a question. And I know as you listen to our program, you're going to have lots of questions. Now, what if you've got this question, and listen to this, my boss is trying to stop my promotion. So you feel, hey, you're going to lose out, there's going to be money involved, and you don't like it. So Mario, how do we fix this? Is it time that I must take him on? What? Come on, give me some advice. And it's interesting, and this was my feedback. This may surprise you, but your boss isn't the one who controls your promotion. Because this is very important. God controls promotion. If you look at Psalm 75, verses 6, for promotion and power come from nowhere on earth, but only from God. So we're sitting in a situation, we want to blame people, in this case, your boss, and because he's like stopping you, and you realize financially you're going to lose out. A very, very important topic. And again, I want to say, if you've got questions, and I know there's going to be lots of questions, I want to ask you, get involved. But I want to, in this short session, I want to just highlight a couple of things about contentment. Why do we need to be content? What is this meaning of it? And you will see when we prepare ourselves for these programs, it's biblical based. It's not just thoughts that I believe, it's great and it's wonderful discussion. And just listen to the following. Luke 16:11. If therefore you have not been faithful in the use of worldly wealth, who will entrust the true riches to you? And this is why I love it. Doesn't matter where you are. Are you faithful, yes or no, in the small things? So if you want to understand finances, financing God's way, I'm saying get into these principles, practice these type of things. We talk about debt, and I want to repeat this again. Just as the rich rule over the poor, so the borrower is servant to the lender. So where do you stand on these topics? One of the other topics that we're going to highlight also in the next session is all about ethics and governance. But listen to honesty, the principle here. You shall not steal, nor deal falsely, nor lie to one another. So we want to get this right in this financial issues, but we don't apply these principles. And it's all godly principles, kingdom principles. Generosity. Remember the words of the Lord Jesus that he himself said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. Isn't this powerful? So we need to understand finances. And I want to ask you, if you're sitting in the church, in your community, and you want to be a stewardship leader, or you want to say, Mario, come on, where can I get involved and how can I use these principles? I'm saying connect with us. I want to ask you, yes. And again, at this stage, I want to say thank you for those who are contacting us, who's listening to the YouTubes. This is a great sign. But if you ask me, are you happy so far? I'm saying, no, I want more people. And for those who've connected with me so far, please, you're on the right track. What is the definition of work? Whatever you do your work heartily as you for the Lord rather than for men, if the Lord Christ whom you serve. How do we look at work? What do we see? Think principles like saving. The wise man, we know these principles. How do we save? Things like, what do we do if you're in a crisis? And then I love this one in terms of Mark 8:36, eternity. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? So we're talking about this principles of contentment. Why is it important? How do I get involved? What do I do and how do I fix it? I love it. So finances is a big topic, and my advice is do it in small groups. Tackle one issue per week. It's often about 6 to 8 weeks. And you can get online training, you can get e-training, you can webinars, you can get e-books on all these topics, which is easily available. Just drop us a note so that we can take it further. But I want to throw in a couple of questions. And to me, it's like statements, and I want you to listen to it very carefully. And it's like true or false questions. You can listen to me and say, listen, true or false. My first one is, debt-free living is part of my life, yes or no? And it's either yes or no. Is it part of your life, yes or no? We do have a clear plan and a strategy to accelerate debt repayment, yes or no? And if you keep on saying no and no and no, I know what's going to happen. Remember the questions that I throw in here. You're just going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Third one, I have sought the Lord's help in my journey toward a debtless day, yes or no? Very important question. I've made every effort so far to repay my debt, yes or no? And I know you said, Mario, this is tough. I want to understand finances. Do I really need to go in such a deep discussion? And the answer is yes. Our basis for giving is out of a heart filled with love. And how do we start looking at giving? And I know, we're living in a world, and one of the principles that I've highlighted is this thing about, poverty and prosperity and stewards. God wants us to be faithful stewards. So we need to look at finances differently. And I know it. It's very important, a very, very important key principle. My attitude of giving is cheerfully. Our business partnerships are in writing. What do we do when there's disputes and misunderstandings? And what do you think about your personal financial situation? Is it healthy, yes or no? And normally when I put these programs together, I close with a couple of these statements, and then I'm saying, check yourself, because I want you, please, this is a discipleship program. It's a program that we train facilitators, and you sitting in the other side, so well, Mario, get involved. And I know from my side, this is such a crucial topic. A lot of people, we're sitting in the world today, so Mario, it's tough outside. And how do we fix it? What do I do? Even this question, there was another question that I've got. I said, I'm working for a boss. But listen to this. I'm struggling. He's a difficult person. What does the Bible say about difficult person? He's blocking us. And I'm saying is, if you look at 1 Peter 2 verses 18, servants, be submissive to your employees with all respect. And I want you to be somebody's working in your organization, that people look at you and say, well, listen, we need him. He's very important. He can play such a key role. And I want to repeat this again, be faithful. I want to throw in an example here, one of my best personal stories. And It's such an important story. I've done some work, and at one stage, I said to the colleague of mine, listen, it's not possible. I cannot complete this job. I'm prepared to pass it on to you. But listen, can we just discuss, at least because I'm passing it on to you, what about if you're just paying me 10%? And he said, yes. Okay, so guess what happened afterwards? This person, and it was a big project, completed the job. And as we're moving on one day, I said, so what about my 10%? What about my referral fee? And then he turned around and said, no, wait. I've done a big job. And I decided, there's going to be nothing for you. And I said, hey, that's strange. I want to take you on your word. There was an agreement. Why now? Why the difference? And then he said, so what are you going to do? And then I said to him, listen, God is the owner of my business. I'm only a steward. When I use the words, I need to take it on, I need to explain it, I need to go back to the steward, I need to go back to the owner because I'm the steward, and I want to explain it to him what happened. And it's amazing, he listened to me, and it was a couple of weeks later, he dropped me a note. And it was such an interesting note. Dear Dr. Denton, in brackets, man of God. And I said, I realized, where is it coming from? He said, we have decided to pay that amount of money into your bank account. And the reason why I'm saying this, the same person, as we were working and going to the client, he was sitting on my left-hand side. And the next moment he said, can you explain to me what happened? And explain to me how on earth, and take me through the story again in this example. And then the next moment he was going on his knees, saying, Mario, I need forgiveness. Can you pray for me? And this is why I'm saying also we can play such a key role in understanding finances. I know when you're in God's economy, finances is working differently, but please, contentment is a very important topic, even in the workplaces, even if you're working for a difficult boss, even if you're struggling, even if you don't get promotion, even if you said, Mario, please, we're living in uncertain times. Even if somebody said, I've got a note here, Mario, in my workplace, I love to share and talk about finances and even my faith. And the boss said, please don't do it. What's your view about this? And my advice is, listen, obey your boss and don't share even your faith. But why? Share the principles, submit to yourself, because people look at you, they look at your example. Finances, again, from my side, such a key topic. I'm getting excited. I know the time is too short, but please, my job is to guide you, just to whet your appetite so that you can get into, you can connect with me, so that I can forward you the slides, the information, the contents, and that you can be that faithful steward. I want you to be there. We're going to close the session, but in the meantime, I'm saying, let's take it to the next level. I want to close this session on finances, but can you really close it, Mario? And I'm saying, no, it's difficult. So I want to throw in a couple of words of encouragement to you, because what I've said so far is the lifestyle of contentment. And I want to just repeat a couple of vital, important verses. The one in Luke 16 that I've said, and I want to repeat this. One who's faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Let's start with that. And I want to leave you with that thought. What about your faithfulness? The other one that I want to throw in here, even in the financial situation, I know it's tough, but if you look at Jeremiah 29 verses 11, that famous verse that I love to bring in here. For I know the plans I have for you, also financial plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm your plans, to give you hope and a future. So what do you have plans for your lifestyle, for the contentment, how to get out of debt and all these type of things? Because we often have got lots of plans, but many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. So let's keep these principles in mind. I want to throw in here, before we're going to go into a word of encouragement and an action plan, and I want you to listen to the following. And just listen to it. And I want to say this to somebody listening to me and maybe feeling, Mario, I'm down and I don't have, all the support and the financial issues. So I've got concerns about that. But here is that I want you to listen. You have the DNA of being a champion, even in your finances. Allow the Holy Spirit to assist you in keeping an open mind to the new thing God is doing. And I personally believe God is going to do something new. If you're sitting in the other side, so listen, Mario, now you're talking to me, and I'm saying, let the Holy Spirit keep on stirring it in your heart. Set your focus, your financial focus today on the promises of God to you. You were created for this moment. These are the days of fresh anointing. Take hold of it. Go for all that God has called you to possess, even the finances. As you pursue God's increase in favor shall overtake you. Just a word of encouragement, because I know you're sitting in the other side. So Mario, now you're talking to me and I'm disappointed and I'm feeling down and I'm like that person writing these questions about my job that I've lost and all these type of things. I want to repeat, there is a way forward. And I specifically thinking of you as you're listening to me, that God will provide, even in your finances. But you need to follow the principles. There's about these guidelines, and I want you to implement this. So please, at the end of the session, drop me a note, ask me for more information, ask me how can we get involved, what are the next steps, and I would love to forward those principles to you. In fact, I want you to be a facilitator. I want you to be a steward. I want you to implement these type of things. And I know, and I want to repeat this, financial information without application is just entertainment, and I'm saying no, take this stuff further. Be a person that, as I explained to you, be faithful in the small things. Just be faithful. I know there's a lot of topics and discussions always about finances, but if you really understand this and bring in God's principles and your finances, this is going to look differently, and I want you to be a facilitator. I want to guide you in this process. So analyze, when you've got time in the next week or two, analyze things that you've learned. What do you want to do with this? And I want to just again, I'm looking forward to take you through this next discussion. I know God is going to bless you. There is this thing of abundance. It is true in these days that we're in, but please believe in these principles. You are not alone. And even if you and your loved one are struggling with all these financial issues, come and connect with us so that we can forward this information. So I want to close by saying, be blessed. Go and make the difference. You ain't seen nothing yet.